Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry.
Aamir,
Salman,
And Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan Podcast. My name is Asim Bernie and I'm joined with my lovely co-host Amrita and Sujoy. Hey Amrita, hey Sujoy.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
We were just having a huge religious discussion with the Sujoy. Sujoy, do you want to continue that discussion?
It's just Asim being very ROP against me and my people.
What's
here.
going on, Sujoy? What's going on what's going on in your house at the moment?
I've been I'm just exhausted by a lot of puja attendance. Basically, I won't say if it's like against my wishes or not, but I've been dragged into devotion. Yeah,
Because the way you were explaining it to me, because the way you were explaining it to me, it felt like when like Hrithik Roshan and Kareena wake up Kajol and Shah Rukh in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham with their puja like super early, and they're like, ye kaun ga raha hai?
Yeah, that's a very pretty picture that you have painted. It's nothing like that. It's a lot more intense and aggressive. Yeah,
Aggressive.
Either
Wow.
I've been waking up at 5-6 a.m. It's not.
Okay, great.
And not in a fun way.
That's great.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Let's get started. Let's get the show started. We have a few things to talk about, and our main review is going to be Love, 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 Aamir Khan and Juhi Chawla's movie from back in the day. I didn't even check which year it came out, but it was basically the second
1989.
movie, I think. Wow. And we will get into that. We will get into that movie. But we wanted to talk a few things. First, housekeeping a little bit. We've made some changes to our Patreon. We've been actively doing a lot more content there. And also it's a safer space for us. I feel like with Twitter going completely insane, I don't think we have like a space where we can like openly express our opinion about certain things. So we did a whole episode about the US elections. And I think everybody that listens to Khandaan knows where our leanings are. And how we think about the world, and free Palestine, by the way. And but yeah, that's a space where you can get a closer access to us. But we made some changes because a lot of our Indian followers could not really subscribe on a monthly basis because there's some card validation that I don't know and really understand. But we've changed Patreon to a yearly subscription now. So you basically make one payment and then you're a member for a whole year.
We haven't changed
and you can
it.
still get the different
There's an
tiers
option to subscribe annually as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
and if
yes. So that's
and the annual subscription actually comes at a discount. So that's like, even better.
yeah, as Desis love discounts. So, if your economic situation allows you to sign up to Patreon, do that. You can do that now with a yearly membership. And we've also made some changes to the tiers. Like the different benefits you get in which member group you are. We made a video about that. Actually, I think you can even join as a free member for a couple of days and just check what the community is like. So even that I would suggest. A lot of people do that. So that's something I would suggest. A lot of people have upgraded their plans, and I want to give them a shout out. So the following patrons kind of upgraded their plans. This is Farzan, Pragati, Jasmine, Lena, and Suhela. So big shout out and a big thanks to you. And we had also a few new members. Amrita, maybe you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, and they have some amazing handles too. There's Purti, Ankit, Lazy Panda, Surya, Ninad, Isha, and Caroline. Welcome to the show.
Is Lazy Panda Drama Panda, or are we just very like there's a lot of pandas in our Patreon?
Drama Panda is a friend of mine. I don't know who Lazy Panda is, but I look forward to her becoming a friend.
Okay, because I was just thinking like drama kar ke ab lazy ho gayi hai, you know, like that's like a evolution of Drama Panda to Lazy Panda. But anyway, welcome to being a Patreon. Thank you so much. And we also have to announce our 300. No, what am I doing here? No,
300.
I'm like completely confused why we're doing it because I lost count basically. It's like we've done 250. So the idea was we were going to do a 250 Khandaan celebration. We had to push that a bit further because you guys are traveling and things like that. But we're ready now. So this Sunday we'll be doing a live stream. And the live stream will be announcing our new series, which is the Khandaan 80s series, where we're going to be discussing movies from the 80s. We kind of asked our listeners and our Patreon a couple of weeks ago, also people on TikTok, we asked, which 80s movie would you like us to discuss? And we got a bunch of suggestions. And I thought it might be nice to have a live stream and decide which movies are we going to discuss. So we're going to be picking 10 movies, and then 5 movies will be decided by the people in Patreon. But you can listen in. You can join the discussion on YouTube. You can chat with us. It's going to be a fun hang. It's going to be on this Sunday at 3:30 UK time. And I'll have to post 9 o'clock in India, I think.
It'll be 9 o'clock in India.
And then
I don't really remember what
US people you can convert. You guys are great at math, right? You guys are known as being good at math. So we'll post it on our socials in any case. So you have the right time zone. And the link will be available on our socials. Sujoy, how do you post the link usually? How does it work?
So we will post the banner on Instagram and TikTok and on Twitter and Blue Sky, but the links for them will be available on our Patreon, on Twitter, and also on, I guess, on Instagram stories.
Yeah, okay. It'll be 10:30
Can I embed it to this episode?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can do that.
So,
okay. So I'll embed it in this episode too. For the US? 10:30.
Yes, I'm sorry. Like
there's a bit of lag.
The lag. Yeah, the lag is just like you finish what you were saying, and then I'll say the time.
Yeah, no, I was saying we'll add it to the show notes on this episode, the YouTube link, so they can join us on Sunday, and you know exactly where it is. Because I know a lot of people maybe don't follow us on social media. Twitter has become toxic, so we'll try to post as much as we can, but we'll add it to the episode here too. And Amrita, go ahead.
So it's going to be at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the US people. So that's 3:30 in the afternoon for the UK folk. It will be 9 p.m. for the India folk, and it will be 10:30 a.m. EST for the Americans. And it's going to be a YouTube live stream. And as Asim and Sujoy just said, you can find the link in our show notes, and you can find it on our socials, including our Instagram stories, our Twitter, and individual Blue Sky accounts. And we're spending a lot more time on Blue Sky, by the way, so come find us on Blue Sky.
Yeah, I'll update our Blue Sky handles on the show notes too. So if you want to follow us there, it's like a wholesome place. It's nice. Although I have some issues too. Maybe we can discuss that on a Patreon bonus episode or things like that. But yeah, it might be an interesting topic too, because I have trouble leaving Twitter for a certain reason.
I just wanted to point out that and remind people that the live stream is happening on Sunday, by the way.
Yeah.
We have mentioned the time. Sunday ko aana, Saturday ko nahi. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. No, but I'm looking forward. Join us. It's going to be fun. And if you do miss it, The only way to watch it will be on Patreon. So it's going to be a Patreon benefit with the video and everything in the chat. So that's where you can watch it if you can join us on Sunday. Okay, great. That's it, right? That's it for housekeeping? Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there's a few news stories that dropped this week. Maybe I'll turn off video, maybe see if that works, no?
See that one.
Yeah. So there were a few news stories this week that we kind of quickly wanted to go over. Amrita, you want to get into it first, maybe? Because people explicitly asked you to talk about this.
Yeah, so what happened this week is Nayanthara, whom some of you might remember from Jawan, released an extraordinary letter addressed to her past frenemy / collaborator Dhanush. And we are big fans of Dhanush and his work on this show. But she released this letter. It was just an extraordinary letter in that it was an all-out attack.
Shit.
Because, okay, the backstory is that a few years ago, Nayanthara was acting in this movie that was produced by Dhanush called Nanum Raudidam. And that was a huge hit. And it was directed by Vignesh, who is now Nayanthara's husband. And they met on the sets of that movie, they fell in love, and then they got married. Now, the scuttlebutt is that that movie ran into production issues and went massively over budget. This is not speculation. This is actually, everyone knows that happened. But the reason why it went, over budget, people are a little bit more iffy about that. But the common narrative is that the reason why it went over budget is because Nayanthara and Vignesh were spending all their time kuchikuing and weren't really, paying attention to the movie itself. Which, I mean, that must have been some serious kuchikuing for the movie to go like 3 times over its budget. That's just ridiculous. But that's the common narrative. And then Nayanthara basically, it became sort of really apparent that Nayanthara and Dhanush had a falling out over that movie. And Nayanthara being Nayanthara, she did things like, she won a whole bunch of awards for that film. And every time she'd accept an award, she'd be like, well, and my thanks to my producer Dhanush, who wasn't very happy with me or my performance. And just like did all this needling. And then after that, I guess like they never really worked together again or whatever. And then Nayanthara did this, there was this documentary that was made about her, which I haven't seen, but it was sold to Netflix. And in the documentary, one of the major themes in this narrative, I guess, was about her finding her happily ever after with, her now husband. And of course, if you're going to talk about how this was an on-set romance and they met each other on the sets of this movie, then they're going to allude to this movie. And what they wanted to do was include a bit of BTS, behind the scenes footage. And Dhanush basically just left them on red. Like, he didn't say no, he didn't say yes. He just literally ghosted them. And then they waited around for like 2 years waiting for him to say, okay, you can use this footage, or no, you can't use this footage. And then they went ahead with footage that they had on their devices. So this was something that, like Vignesh had recorded on his phone or something. And it's not a huge amount of footage from what I understand. It's probably about like 10 to 30 seconds maybe. And after the documentary went live, Dhanush sent a cease and desist to Netflix and said, you owe me 10 crores for using that footage because I own it. And Nayanthara just like went off like a rocket. And she started the letter by addressing it to Dhanush, and then like addressed him as like son of and brother of. And the context is that he's a Nepo baby, and Nayanthara is a self-made non-Nepo kid. And then she also said, I wish you were half the man that you appear to be during audio launches, which, wow, just brutal. And then what happened after she published it on her socials? And also the caption that she chose for this letter was love and only love. And after it got published, especially on Instagram, a whole bunch of actresses, most of whom have worked with Dhanush in the past, including people like Shruti Hassan and, like a whole bunch of people, they all reshared and liked that post. So now a lot of people are talking about like, what was Dhanush doing to all these other women that all of them just like fell in line like that? There's been like all these stories about him misbehaving with Nitya Menon, for example. And now like everybody's talking about it all over again. And it's also really funny because like most of these actresses are Malayali. So Dhanush fans are like, it's a Malayali conspiracy to bring down Dhanush. It's just really funny. And I have to say, this is the kind of drama that I've been missing in Bollywood. Like, there's no like, it's not like Hindu Muslim. It's not like any of that stuff. It is just old-fashioned like shanking in the streets. I love it.
When she wrote love and only love, she meant that in the voice of Raza Murad, love and only love.
Also, when she says, I wish you were half the man, is that like a short joke? Is she making fun of his height too?
But yeah. But whatever Dhanush has been doing.
Yeah, that's the thing that was most surprising to me because I don't know the gossip in the South industry as much. So this kind of blew up, and there was a lot of like "you go girl" energy going around. Like, yeah, finally, like stick it up. But I was like, I don't know what like. I thought it was just like a producer rights issue. But then when all of the celebrities started liking the post and things like that, there seems to be something shady going on here, right? Like, dal mein kuch kala lag raha hai, especially like Dhanush ki dal, like something seems wrong there. So I don't know, have there been rumors? Have there like, what's the story here?
Follow Tamil industry gossip as closely as, like say our friends over on the Other Banana podcast do. So I'm not sure about, like what exactly Dhanush has been up to apart from like, shenanigans with Nayanthara and like the producer stuff. There was, of course, like years ago, there was the whole Suchi stuff that came out. Suchitra is like a singer in the Tamil industry who is slightly insane, to be honest. She's sort of like the Azalea Banks of the Tamil industry. And she has been talking about how like Dhanush is in a gay relationship with somebody else and is like swing partners with Karan Johar and Shah Rukh Khan or something in London. Like it was just like insane. But the subtext was that Dhanush is a huge like drug addict and like is having all these like wild parties in Chennai where all the other Nepo kids gather, etc. And they're all, having orgies, etc. But also,
he's D Diddy. He's D Diddy.
D Diddy. But also, somebody sent me a screenshot where Mahesh Babu had posted like a screenshot of Nayanthara's documentary and was like, amazing, or like, I forget what the caption was, but he was just like, this is amazing or something, or like he really loves it. So and that happened after she had published her open letter. So it's not just the women who are like, going up against Dhanush, it's also like men from like other industries. Like Mahesh Babu is not a man who quotes controversy as such. And for him to be just like, yep, like I'm on the side of Nayanthara, I'm just like, I don't know what Dhanush has been doing, but several chickens seem coming home to roost. And I guess he shouldn't have gotten that divorce from Rajini's daughter, because I bet that plays into it.
So lots of kolaveri basically going on.
Yep.
Speaking of shenanigans, something's also going on with AR Rahman at the moment. I mean,
you could have,
they announced.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Like, I want to hear.
No, like you could have, knocked me over with the proverbial feather when that news broke this morning. Like, I genuinely did either of you have any clue that there was like something wrong with their marriage?
No, they seem to be like very devoted to each other, right? Like a very kind of happy, wholesome kind of family. But AR Rahman also doesn't seem like that kind of guy, like that would ever get divorced and things like that, right? Like, so I was like quite surprised about it. And then literally an hour or two later, there's the news that his bassist Mohini De is also announcing her divorce. And obviously, Bollywood gossip sites, being gossip sites, are already putting two and two pictures together and extrapolating, or there's a lot of conjecture, as Karan Johar would say.
Have you seen that young?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that young lady's picture, by the way?
Mohini De,
I've seen her live,
seen her on concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the photo. Can you see?
Yeah.
If AR Rahman goes from like his sweet hijabi wife to like a bassist in a bikini, the number of heads that are going to explode are going to be epic. I'm
just looking forward to the music he's going to make now.
No, but like this poor woman, like she's like, no, but she's
Hi Rama
younger.
Again. Sorry.
Asim, stop.
I had to make my Hi Rama joke. Sorry.
Asim's been waiting to make it, and like he wasn't getting like the opportunity to do it. No, but like this lady is like really young. Like I hope that's not true, because like she's a baby. Like why would anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. I can I just say I just feel messy talking about this. Like we're making jokes and stuff like that. It's kind of messy. Like like it's sad. Like they seem all good, talented people. I'm just bringing it up because the posts are out, right? Like I'm seeing it already, like people kind of creating these things. So it's a sad state of affairs, especially when you have kids, you've been married for so long, to kind of go through this. And then Mohini De is very young.
Yeah, and also like Rahman's wife, his ex-wife, I guess, soon to be, has engaged one of the most famous divorce lawyers in India, like a woman who's like known to be a total shark. So I don't know how amicable the separation is going to be, because I don't think her choice of lawyers indicates it to be like a very amicable separation. And Vandana Shah is like the lawyer. She's not like a Chennai-based lawyer. She's like a very famous, I think she's Bombay-based, if I'm not mistaken, and a very expensive, very experienced celebrity lawyer. So that's always an indication of how bad things are about to get. So I would say everyone better watch out.
Here's my 2 cents. I saw the tweet from the AR Rahman account, right? And people were commenting something very special about it. And that was the official PR statement that was released as a quoted statement from the Twitter account, and then it ends on a hashtag AR Saira breakup, and everybody was like, okay, after weddings, it's the turn for divorces to have a hashtag now, which is amusing to say the least.
Yeah. The lawyer's name is Vandana Shark.
SHAH, not sure. Although that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
I was like, she's born for this. Basically, this is the, like when your name is like Johnny Contractor and you become a contractor, like that kind of thing. But anyway, I feel dirty talking about this. I hope, everybody figures this out and we get good music out of it. It's just messy. I wanted to bring it up this week because it dropped basically this morning. I don't know about you guys, but I've not watched too many movies this week. I have watched a lot of interviews about movies, though. I watched a couple. I don't think these will interest you. And you know me, I watch stuff that has no interest for you. I watched the Arjun Kapoor interview. And then I also watched the Rohit Shetty, Ajay Devgan interview. With Ranveer. Yeah. I've told you, I find Rohit Shetty's interviews fascinating. I find it really, really fascinating. But I've now watched a lot of those Ranveer interviews. It's tough to watch them. I find them really tough to watch. I don't know. Maybe it's just the person. I think the last one I watched was with Tiger Shroff and Akshay when they were promoting their movie. And I remember I had a tough time watching him talk to these celebrities then. And this was also kind of a very tough one. But the celebrities seem to be getting along with them. Ranveer Alabadi, is that his name?
Okay. Beer biceps guy?
Yeah, Beer Biceps, yeah. But he's quite big and popular in India, right? So he gets all of these big 2 hour... Yeah, he's like the Joe Rogan of India. He gets like 2 hours, 3 hours of their time. And so it's a deeper dive, but neither Rohit Shetty, neither Ajay Devgan are very talkative. So it is kind of, trying to get blood out of a stone. But I found it kind of interesting to see where their mindset is at. I just also find it fascinating, like that they have become kind of, the De Niro Scorsese of India. Like, I just was thinking, what are other combination of director actors that have such a long collaboration? And there's not that many when you think about it.
That's how sad it is.
Yeah. I mean, they're already working on their next movie. They've done quite a few. And the way Rohit and Ajay talk to each other, it's like they just like working with each other all the time. And they want to continue working with each other all the time. So it's just interesting to see that kind of connect between these two. But yeah, it's not going to be interesting for you. And then I watched the Arjun Kapoor one. I haven't finished that one, but like he's the opposite of it, right? Like he has so much to say. And he's not had a lot of good years. I have a lot of goodwill for Arjun Kapoor. I've always said this. So I'm happy he has a little bit of a moment to shine with his Danger Lanka thing that he got. And the guy's been trying, and the guy's been going through a lot of things, and he's not had an easy life at all. So he's talking a lot about that. But I'm not sure even people are that interested. I was looking at the view counts, and it was like under 100K, which is not that much for a YouTube interview. So I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting to get a peek of the years he's gone through and the struggles he's gone through. But it's just unfortunate that he doesn't have enough movies to back up what he's saying. Like the quality of work is not there. So that was the other interview that I watched. And then the third one was the Aamir Khan and Kiran Rao interview that what are they called now?
Hollywood
Reporter India did, right? Yeah. You guys, Sujo, you didn't get a chance to watch that, right?
No.
Yeah. Amrita, did you? Because our patron Farzan also mentioned, and he's a huge Aamir fan. He wanted us also to watch this. Did you get a chance to watch the whole thing, Amrita, or just a little bit?
I watched the whole thing, and poor Farzan, he needs to be careful what he wishes for. But I will. But I will say that, I did enjoy this interview. Um, it's a very interesting and different dynamic between these two people, right? Aamir Khan and Kiran Rao. Because
Yeah.
Aamir is himself in a way around Kiran that I've never seen him be um, with other people. Like with other people, he's always sort of trying too hard to be Jesus, right? Like that's my original complaint with Aamir. Um, but with Kiran, I feel like he feels like she has a lot of wisdom that he lacks, and she is in he becomes like the masala creator in her presence,
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
and he doesn't have that moral and cultural capital that she has, and therefore she now has the high ground, and he is like,
The
like,
underdog.
yeah, and he's like thinking about filthy things like money and commercial success, and she is above all of that, and he's just like, oh no, like what happened? And so it's a very different dynamic when the two of them are together and they're talking about stuff. um and that was quite enjoyable, and like I enjoy watching this particular shade of Amir, because this is actually the man that I always suspect lives behind that kind of wholesome cinema, because the way a lot of people talk about Amir's films, they always talk about, they take it like very literally, right? Like the narrative that he has spent the last 20 years specifically, 24 years, I guess, like since Lagan. He's built a very specific narrative about like a man who like cares about like bigger things, and is trying to do good in the world and all of that. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want to do any of that stuff. I'm sure he does. He seems like a good person, but there's a lot of people who really buy into that image and that narrative without any critical analysis whatsoever, and who kind of see him sort of like a saint. Like here is Amir Khan, the one person in Bollywood who cares, and who is wholesome and lovely. And I'm just like, he's also making tons of money. And that is basically his entire gig. Like he figured out a niche where he makes like very wholesome entertainment for a large mainstream audience by saying very, anodyne, very general statements of um, basic ethics. But because he is surrounded by all these masala movies that, especially over the same 20 years, has really taken a swing to the right, where morality is something that is either God given or non existent, he sort of stands out in comparison. And therefore, everyone is just like, oh, like, like Amir is doing something different, is doing something hatke. He is not. He's making very traditional, conservative cinema. It's just that we have sort of degraded as a culture. And therefore, he comes up like smelling like roses. And it was just really interesting to me to listen to him talk about Lapata ladies in particular, and what he saw as its problems, etc.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought it was a fascinating discussion and dynamic. I found Amir to be a bit insufferable, to be honest, in this.
Of course.
We kind of switch places, Amrita, here. Like, this is probably the Amir I like less. I felt he was very, like, he talked a lot over Kiran Rao. Like, a lot of times she was trying to make a point and he just kept talking and talking, to the point where it was actually quite funny. He said that apparently after they got divorced, he asked her how to be a better husband, and she said, "You talk too much." And clearly, he has not taken any notes of that. But I did find it interesting, their insights in the Oscar race, though, like how they want to present themselves and how the industry has changed since Lagan, and how streaming has changed a lot of things, and how they can push things. That was interesting. I really thought it was very political how they answered on uh, All That We Imagine Is Light not being nominated. That's the name of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Lapata Ladies did get nominated. I was also surprised that Aamir watches no movies. Like any movie you talk about, he hasn't seen it. It's like, what's going on there? Like, what are you watching?
I don't believe him. I
Yeah.
100% do not. He fumbled with the Pathan answer. If you paid attention, like he first was like, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the scene. And then as Anupama was talking about it, he was reacting to it as if he's hearing it for the very first time. Like, sir, you live in the world. Even people who haven't like seen that movie know that scene. The Aamir, the Salman Shahrukh scene where they're saying that we need to keep going because bachon pe nahi chhod sakte, etc. Everybody in the industry remembers that scene and has like heard it even if they haven't watched the film. So that was like one of those things. Like I just was like, you need to get your story straight before you start lying on camera.
Yeah. And the other also, what I thought was interesting is how much love there is between Anupama and Kiran Rao. Like there seems to be like a very strong bond between them, and obviously they work together. They work closely on Mami together. So, but it really shone through in that interview, and I thought that was really a nice thing to see. I don't think Lapata Ladies will win the Oscar though. I just don't see it happening. Also, just because the name is now confusing. Now they've changed it to Lost Ladies, but it's not Lost Ladies on Netflix. It's weird to do this kind of thing, but I don't know. I don't know how successful they will be. I hope they win. I really think it's a good movie, and I think India deserves a win for sure. In terms of Oscars, I was also surprised that apparently All That We Can Imagine Light is now getting nominated in the main category. That's how they're going to position it, but they can do that obviously because it's not necessarily an Indian production, right? It's a French and UK production, so they can do whatever they want. So which probably is also the reason why India could not submit it as their official pick, right? If I'm not mistaken, maybe, I don't know.
No, it was shortlisted.
They can't.
It was shortlisted, but
it was
they didn't
okay.
pick it.
Okay. Yeah, fascinating. Sujoy, are you going to go back and watch it, or time nahi hai, like ho gaya?
I've heard it from you guys, so it's good enough for me. Why would I hear like Aamir Khan talk for an hour when I can just listen to a TLDR version from Asim and Amrita?
Our version is better than Kark.
For sure.
But you could watch it just for the the clothes Aamir is wearing. He's put in an effort for Anupama Chopra, right? Like that was cool.
You guys should be able to see how Amrita's expression is right now when you mention Aamir's fashion choices.
Yeah. Let's get into Aamir. Let's get into love. So
there is a point in love where they sit around and everyone is like, congrats, and they're like, thanks, and everyone is like, party.
Yeah.
I think you're mentioning when Aamir and Juhi are sent to the quiz competition by their principal. And that principal sends Aamir because तू बहुत जल्दी जवाब देता है कि you answer very quickly. That's why you should go to the quiz. There's no mention if the answers are correct.
I mean, it's a quiz competition. It's a quiz competition when the final question is दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा आशिक कौन है? And Aamir answers मैं, and he wins. So I think the principal made the right choice.
Yeah.
We all three of us made the wrong choice.
We didn't make a choice. This was Patreon. Like, they are the ones that voted and like told us to watch Love.
Yeah.
Guys, this is going to happen, right? We are Aamir. We've covered most of his filmography now, right? So there's a few left. I should actually update my list and what is left and what we haven't covered yet. Shah Rukh and Salman, we have tons to do. But Aamir, we're running towards the end of, the end is near. And this is going to happen. We're going to be talking about Awwal Number. We're going to be talking about, this one. And yeah, this is just the task we decided to do. So now we have to go through it. How are your lachans, by the way? My question for you guys. Yeah, it's because the mom is constantly saying that. The stepmom is like, iske lachan theek nahi hai. It's like, wow.
Shanti has no chill.
Loves, lachan.
Shanti has no chill. Yeah, all throughout the movie, she's bickering. And that one moment she says, "Mat ja beta, sotele hi sahi maa hu teri."
Yeah.
When did this happen, Shanti?
And like she begins the movie by saying like, if I wasn't a Soteli Ma, then I would have given him some poison and like killed him. like literally, like that's the introduction scene to this woman. And then at the end, she's just like, "Macha beta." I'm like, what?
So, for those that don't know, I'm reading it from the Wikipedia page. Love, Love, Love is a 1989 Hindi romantic action film directed by Babar Subhash, who is also the director of Disco Dancer, by the way. And I did not know this movie was part of the Disco Dancer universe. They make it very clear it's part of the Disco Dancer universe. Yeah. It stars Aamir Khan, Juhi Chawla, Gulshan Grover, Raza Murad, Dilip Tahil, Om Shivpuri, with a turn. And it was a remake of a movie called Tough Turf, which, did you guys see the trailer that I sent to you guys? You did not, right?
No.
Oh my God. Guys, I was hoping you would watch the trailer. I will upload it to our pages because it is a shot for shot remake. And you watch Love, Love and Love, 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 and you can see that how would they copy. This seems like an original insanity. Like, it doesn't seem that this can come from the brain of anybody that's a sane person. But it is actually very similar to the original. But the original seems like a coherent movie. This does not. This does not seem like a coherent movie.
Oh my God. The original had James Spader in it?
Robert Downey Jr., James Spader.
Who is Gulshan Grover in that scenario?
He's not. I think, wait, it is... Yeah, let me just double check before I mess this up. I'm sure I saw him in the trailer, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he is in the cast list.
He is, right? Yeah. He's playing the best friend. He's playing the break dancer best friend. But there's no break dancing in the original one. Yes. I don't know, man. Sujoy, let's get into it. What did you think of Love, Love, Love?
Okay, so this definitely felt like a blast from the past because this comes straight from the success of QSQT, and I think everybody was very much looking forward to renting this VHS when it came out. I did not get to see it on the big screen, and like this movie played for months and months at my house. I don't remember any of the plots, but I vividly remember that there is a party song where Aamir gives Juhi a Taj Mahal. The big baddies break the Taj Mahal, and Juhi is like, she collects it, puts it in the box, and then kisses it, and then she throws away all the other presents and then tramples on it. I have that memory just seared into my brain. And when I saw that happening, I was like, oh my God, this is such a core memory that came from nowhere. Yeah, this is a movie of the 80s, even though it came out like, towards the tail end of the 80s, it still feels like the aesthetic of this movie is very much of the 80s. The disco songs, Bappi Lahiri, Vijay Benedict, it's very disco dancer, like done by Aamir and Juhi in a way. And I was also sort of making notes, and at one point I realized that this movie has so much going on and at the same time no plot at all. That's how I would summarize my experience of Love, Love, Love Me.
So you went, you had your adolescence in India, and I imagine you went to parties. How many girls have you given Taj Mahals to?
My pocket money never amounted to that much that I would kisi ke liye Taj Mahal banau.
Plastic wala bhi nahi.
नहीं.
Amrita, how many Taj Mahals have you received?
It is actually quite bad luck to be given or to give someone Taj Mahal. It's like, it's a mausoleum, you guys. You shouldn't be giving anybody a Taj Mahal, by the way. So I'm very happy to report that nobody's ever given me a Taj Mahal. Thank you.
What did you think of Love, Love, Love?
Oh, it's terrible. It is incoherent. It is boring. Like, there's some movies that are just like bad, but they're quite fun to watch, or they'll have like
Yeah.
things in it that are like, okay, so this was interesting. This had none of those things. It was just a drag from like beginning to end, including the songs. Like, I didn't like any of the songs. And it was wild to me because it was Vijay Benedict, it was Parvati Khan, it was Alicia Chennai, in a Bappi Lahiri soundtrack. And literally, like, first of all, like, all the songs kept saying love, love, love. So, like, all the songs started merging into like one like extended song to me. I was just like, wait, did we just listen to the song? Because it's the same exact lyrics. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I wasn't
then-
sure if it was the same song that was kind of coming back or these were separate songs. I wasn't 100% sure.
And then it was also shocking to me because these are all singers whom I've heard sing before, and I know that they can sing. I mean, come on, Alicia Chennai, are you kidding me? But they all sounded like Besura throughout, like all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's the the really terrible quality of this movie and its audio as well. I don't know. But I'm not even like an audiophile. Like, I'm not like one of these people that's just like, oh my God, like I really care about the sound. But even to me, I was just like, this is just terrible. And then, of course, there was Aamir in his short shorts. This is his short era. And that was traumatizing. The only thing that I liked was Juhi. Juhi is a sweet little bouquet of flowers, and I love her very much in this film.
In defense of the soundtrack, I would say Disco Dandiya still rocks. It is my entire childhood, and I will not stand any slander against Disco Dandiya.
But this isn't even like the best Disco Dandiya. Like, I feel like there's other people who've done like Disco Dandiya, and like it was like better than this
No,
one.
it's my first one, so yeah, it's special in my.
Yeah, I think Disco Dandiya is probably the only reason why this movie was successful, no?
Was it successful?
Like, whatever modicum of success it had. It obviously didn't perform as well as, Qiyamat Se Qiyamat Tak. But I think probably an average grosser. And in that era, I'm just thinking, like, it feels like they're trying to make it like a young people's movie, like like this is what the young peoples are doing and things like that, and music and stuff like that, and looks very low budget, right? There's like no money spent on this. It feels like everybody just wore their own clothes. Only for Gulshan Grover, somebody went to Thailand or Bangkok and got some rip-off Adidas and stuff like that. I think actually, beside Juhi Chawla, I think Gulshan Grover is the one that commits the most to whatever he's trying to do here.
And
He's
Debu.
just vibing. Like, there's a and Debu from America. Hi, yes, Debu being Juhi Chawla's brother was like a trip, man. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I had some thoughts. I can't remember now.
So yeah, let's go a few of the beats here, right? So Aamir comes from a poor background. He is Dalip Tahil's first son from his first marriage. He's gotten remarried. I'm just starting with the plot, and Juhi is Amrita's yawning already. He's like, I cannot do the whole plot of the movie here.
No, but like Asim just said that, like Aamir comes from a poor family. But I just want to say Aamir's stepmother also says that. And then Dalip Tahil, who plays Aamir's dad, is like, मैं गरीब नहीं हूँ, मैं महीने के 10,000 बनाता हूँ और मेरा बेटा भी गरीब नहीं है, उसके नाना ने उसके लिए 2 लाख रुपए छोड़े हैं. So that's a lot of money for like 1989. So yeah, they're just not as rich as Juhi and her crime-tastic circle of friends.
Yeah. And so Dalit Tahil has two taxis. Apparently, later on, this becomes a plot point. Like this suddenly, I thought when he kept saying he was a driver, I thought he was going to be Raza Murad's driver or Om Shiv Puri's driver. That was connect. There's no connection there whatsoever. Aamir joins a school who seems to be. It seems to be a new school that he's joined because he doesn't have any friends and stuff like that. But again, it's not a plot point that gets elaborated and things like that. He immediately gets bullied by Gulshan Grover's gang, and they mess up his cycle, basically, right? So, and there he falls in love with Juhi Chawla, who seems to be really enjoying riding on Aamir's cycle when Gulshan Grover is driving over it. Juhi seems like in like Greece, like those pink ladies, that's what the vibe that I'm getting from Juhi at the start of the movie, right? Like she seems to be okay with whatever Gulshan Grover is doing and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
the first
they also
time
rob
that
a
we
person.
see her. Yeah, that's the first time that we see Juhi, where she's just sitting in the car chilling while Gulshan and his minions are like beating and robbing some man. And she's just like, oh, well, what can one do? And I'm like, bitch, what are you doing?
Yeah, she's basically a Democratic voter in the US or like a Labour voter in the UK. It's like,
she's a green voter.
Yeah, what can be done? It's a robbing people and murdering people. What can we do? Yeah. So, but yeah, they fall in love. They join a quiz show. It's weird, man. Like going over the plot points, they fall like very much in love, and I don't know when it happened. I might have just like stepped out for a moment.
Hey, let me give you the logic.
Yes.
Think about filmmaking in this movie or B. Subhash's entire filmography like equivalent to a sarkari job where everything is laid out for you and you just pick something from each compartment and then you assemble it and then you put it in a file folder and you throw it at the customer. That's how this movie was made. There is no like creative thought or any flourishes that would satisfy anybody invested in filmmaking. It's just blandest form of filmmaking, which is equivalent to a sarkari job. So don't try to make sense of it.
But I think he was a moderately successful filmmaker, right? Like he made Disco Dancer massive, not even like a hit, but like a generational hit, like an international hit. Like it's a big, like it's 80s ka RRR. Like that's what Disco Dancer was. Like it traveled, that movie, right?
Yeah.
It connected with audiences. And then he also did like Kasam Paida Karne Wale Ki, which a big thing. Disco Dance, which had Aamir's stepmom in it, and she goes zubi zubi, and then she gets kidnapped for 20 years. Crazy stuff happening in these movies, right? But these were hits, right? So I wouldn't like Love is not even like an end of the career movie. Like, he's lost his skills, like he's not Subhash Ghai in Kisna. It's not his first movie where he hasn't figured out how to make a movie. It's kind of like, he was in the height of his creative endeavors, but this movie is badly shot, it's badly edited, it makes no logical sense, the action is terrible, the music isn't good, there's no set design, there's nothing. I was like, what's going on? Like I was really baffled. Like when you said Sujoy yesterday, you had not watched the movie yet. I was like, how is Sujoy going to sit through this whole movie? Because it took me 3 times to get through it. It was really hard.
1.5x.
Yeah. By the way, I was watching that Ajay Devgan Rohit Shetty interview, and they put it on the screen. Watch it in 1.5x, and I was like, who does that? Like, I don't understand. Like, if you're actively telling people to fast forward through your content, I don't understand. Like, we make fun of the people that say they listen to us at 1.5. Like, wasn't there a message like it's weird to listen to you at like normal speed because I always listen to you at 1.5. But yeah, it's anyway. So glad you got through it, man. Yeah, but this is just a terribly made movie, like Amrita said, right? But
I just
what
want
did you
to
think of Raza
interject
Murad?
here.
Sorry. Hmm.
I just want to interject here that I actually listen to podcasts at 1.5 speed. So I feel those of you that do like listen to the podcast on 1.5 or even 2.
But I
Like 2
get it.
is
I
a bit,
get you do it.
yeah.
I understand, but if the content creator himself is saying, "Oh, listen to it at 1.5, that's the odd choice, I'm saying, Like
Yeah.
if people do it in secret, that's fine. Don't boast about it.
Yes. Please don't listen to us in like 2x. Like, please listen to us in normal speed. This is the official stand.
um, yeah, so I just want to talk about this Gundagardi of the 80s, right? Because you have Raza Murad and Gulshan Grover and Debu being full on Gundes, right? But it's like a weird kind of Gundapan in the 80s, right?
Yeah, because like, so when they introduce Raza Murad, for example, and they want to tell you like, here is a very zalim kind of villain. He beats a budgie to death with his tennis racket and then feeds the dead budgie to his Alsatian. And I'm like, what was happening in the 80s? Like that, I don't think we make that grade of cocaine anymore, like I don't understand. Like it's just all really weird.
Yeah, although I thought like that's how people just had dog food in the 80s, like like jo bhi aas paas mein mila. Don't they like hunt like mouses and then eat them? I don't have pets. I'm not very a pet guy. Uh,
Why would a dog
don't
hunt
dog
a mouse? That's a cat.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure dogs are that discerning, man. Like I've seen them eat their own feces, so I'm not like. And a mouse is a step up, I would say. Why are we having a mouse conversation? Let's not have more mouse conversations. We have had the best mouse conversation on this episode on this show already. It was a real. But yeah, he is very evil. I was just like, who cleans the tennis racket after the budgie has been like smushed? Like that's my question.
He's got
And then
plenty of,
he's also like
he's got plenty of servants to do that.
minions. Yeah, he does. But also just the way he dresses, he feels like he's very Sarjon coded. First of all, we're talking about Debu, then we can also talk about Sarjon. And then he feels more like a politician than a gunda, right? Like they really say like he's a murderer. But yeah, he's just quite well
But
dressed.
he's
and stuff
also
like that.
getting invited to inaugurate melas and everything, right? Which eventually pays off in the end. It's like, why is an undisputed underworld king, inaugurating melas? I'm not sure. Disney mela.
Yeah, and he comes in with comedic material when he's doing the inauguration. Like he has jokes, So he's like, he
Hitler
seems
jokes.
to be like a friend.
He has Hitler jokes.
Yeah. So he comes prepared. So I was like, what kind? Like also like remember that scene in Singham Returns where Amrita, obviously you have not seen this scene and we didn't discuss it last time. There's a sequence where Ajay Devgan is talking to his son, and his son explains the concept of a situationship. And he learns that word, and then he tells his superior about situationship, and we all laugh because that is comedy, and here it was like Raza Murad had just picked up street lingo, and he was like, wo kharch ho gaya hai. You know what that means? Wo kharch ho gaya hai? It's like, yes. So everybody understands. Like this lingo is not that coded.
I thought you were going to say about randomly Raza Murad bonding with his would-be in-law, that is Om Shivpuri, like business partners say rishtedari and all of that, and he's oversharing that in his Jawani he fell in love with a Kamwali bhai, and his father married away the Kamwali bhai, and he's like, after that, when she got married, and then when she he saw her, and it was like he felt awkward or something. And I'm like, why are you sharing this with us? I don't want to know this.
Yeah.
But then there's also the realization that Juhi's dad goes through, where he's
Yeah.
like, there's like a freeze frame as he's having an internal dialogue. And the internal dialogue is like, she is my daughter. She is not money that I want to invest. I shouldn't do this to my daughter. Like,
But also,
what?
ये दोनों कितने अच्छे लग रहे हैं.
And clearly they had no plan for the sequence. So they didn't even shoot the scene where he realizes something. It just freeze frames. I was like, what's
Yeah.
happening? Is my server rebuffing? Like, what's buffering again? Like, what's happening? And they just have this narration going on for like very long. It's like a 3-minute speech he has with himself, you know? Like, sometimes you have it, you go into a room and you forgot, like, where did I put that? Oh, I forgot it there. But it's like 4 minutes of it. Like, that's not the way people think about things. This is not how you solve problems.
Oh my god, I have to remind you what happens just before the scene as well. When Razamrat makes that call to Bob, अपनी telescopic gun लेके hotel Blue Diamond में आ जाओ.
Yes. So
And
Bob
then
Christo shows up in this movie. So the sequence is they want to assassinate Aamir Khan in a party. Bob Christo comes in like he's the ghost of a Victorian child dressed with like a cricket uniform. And he has like the biggest rifle. Like the room. Yeah, he comes in with a rifle and then he goes behind the people and he wants to hide and shoot Aamir from there. The room is not that big. The rifle is huge. The rifle is half of the size of the room. It's like, how was Bob Christo going to escape this situation? He's like the opposite of a covert assassin. Like, first of all, why is this huge man dressed like a child? Why is he bringing this sniper rifle?
No, but like also during the song, like, you know, so it's a party.
It's the Taj Mahal song. It's the Taj Mahal song.
Yeah, exactly. Which is an engagement song, right? Like, it's not a birthday song.
It was supposed to be the engagement song, but then...
But it's a birthday song somehow. Somebody's birthday is being celebrated.
It's also a defiance song, which is one of my favorite tropes in Bollywood.
Yeah.
So like doing the thing, like, you know, like he's brought like some gift or something for Juhi and Gulshan Grover, who are like announcing their engagement, and then Gulshan's like, again, this is a man who we see, like, you know, casually like beating up people, robbing people, murdering people. His dad is apparently a crime lord. And then he and his friends are like literally like pantsing Aamir at this party. And they're just literally going like, nah, to Aamir. And Aamir is just like, oh no, I have to sit here and be humiliated like this. And so then Juhi decides to sing a song about like how she loves Aamir and she'll only love Aamir ever. And then Aamir basically has this expression on his face that all of you will remember from like the opening scenes of Andaz Apna Apna, where he is like, you know, like when he is imagining that Juhi Chawla, the movie star, is in love with him, and he's just like, aha, you see, I'm quite the thing. And that's basically the expression that he has during the song. And I was just like laughing my butt off during the song. But yeah, this is Sujoy's favorite
Same here,
song.
because it's one of those tropes again in older movies where like everybody chills while the song is playing. Like, so like these bullies, these assassins, nahi, gana sun ke baat karenge. Like, let's listen to the song first. बाद में देखेंगे, you know, like, yeah, exactly. बप्पी दानी ने कहीं से चोरी की है, you know, like कहीं से चुरा के लाया गाना. By the way, this whole album is plagiarism. Every song is copied, and even the background score of this movie is plagiarism, where they took all of John Williams' greatest hits. So E.T. is in there, Chariots of Fire is in there, Star Wars and Superman is in there, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It doesn't go with the theme of the...
Yeah, sometimes like they don't even like bother like adapting it. They'll just like play the actual song.
Yeah.
Like when Amir has his
Yes.
first aborted like party, like congratulation party. Like I forget which song it was, but it's like one of those giant 80s hits.
They
That
play
is,
Careless Whisper.
oh, it's Careless
Careless
Whisper.
Whisper. Yeah.
And it's like the actual song. Like it's not
Yeah.
even like
Yeah.
just the
Yeah, yeah.
instrumentals or like somebody's
It's
like
just Bapi
re-recorded
Das just sitting with a tape recorder and pressing play.
it.
Yeah.
What the bro?
Times in the 80s where they wanted to have some breakdancing, but they could only find one breakdancer because they didn't have any. So there's one guy that does breakdancing. So in that Careless Whisper movement, he's doing the saxophone, but he's also doing a little breakdancing while he's doing the saxophone. It's hilarious. It's the best part.
Like my favorite like pieces of trivia about this film is that after like this film had come out and everything, like maybe 2 years later, Vijay Benedict stopped singing because his brother got murdered by the mafia in Germany.
Oh man.
Which is like the most random thing that ever happened. Like, sorry to this man and his like family. I'm sure it was traumatic, but it's also like, why did you stop singing? Well, because the mafia murdered my brother in Germany. I'm just like, where does that even come
Who's going to
from?
believe that? It's like,
I know.
it's like you don't want to work anymore. Like, could you be like, seriously?
So now he's apparently a gospel singer, and like
Yeah,
he
that I
he
saw.
like that's what he does. And then Parvati Khan, like she got like married or whatever, and then now she is singing bhajans and doing satsang in Bihar jail as their spiritual advisor. And
Wow.
I'm like, what happened on the sets of like like this guy's films? Because my God, that's
I
like
mean,
intense, bro.
Amrita,
80s were
as you
wild.
said, like they don't make the cocaine as much as they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Literally.
The funny part is also, right, we're talking about the songs, right? But equally important is the lead up to these songs or how they position them in the movies. Because obviously, like, we're talking about the Party Defiant song that Juhi sing. There's a whole sequence of bullying before that and the Taj Mahal and stuff like that. But I also want to talk about Disco Dandiya for a second, because that was the most famous song of this movie. In Pakistan, it was a huge thing. People were disco dandiyaing in the weddings and things like that. But I never, and it looks like a happy song. Aayegi, dance karenge, disco dandiya, young people love, love, love. But I never seen the movie, so I didn't know the lead up to this song. If Juhi Chawla doesn't come to the party, Aamir will commit suicide there and then. That is the setup to the song. And I was like,
By the time the song finishes, if she doesn't arrive, he's gonna kill
Yeah.
himself there. It's
Yeah.
just nuts. Yeah.
Exactly. And he says this to a man who's the organizer of the dandiya, who's like a bald man. We've seen him like a supporting actor in a lot of things. He has a very Kallu Mama type of vibe going on. He is fully like, I don't know why in Disco Dandiya, he gets so much footage in the song. Like he's there for like 40% of the song is him doing
Yeah.
Disco Dandiya. I was like, who is this actor? Why is he so much in this? And why is he so happy that Aamir is going to do a public suicide?
That man probably was one of the financiers, and they were just like, hey, if you give me like X amount of money, I'll put you in the film. That is
Yeah.
100%
It really feels that.
what happened.
So, and the other one is the other supporting actor I want to point out is like when we see the Gunda Gardi. By the way, Gulshan Grover. So Gulshan Grover is this Gunda, right? But he's really into partying, first of all. But he also needs a lot of support from everybody around him. So he'll come into a disco, beat somebody up, and then he'll be like, friends, maine theek kiya na, friends. He calls everybody friends, which I thought, D kaha gaya? D gir gaya. But it's all friends. I think it was hilarious. So they
And
beat up
he
this
really
guy
loves
who's
swimming.
a supporting dance. He loves swimming. He doesn't want anybody to leave the swimming pool. How swimming kare? But so they beat up this guy, and it's that guy who's like a background dancer, he's my favorite background dancer of the 80s. Do you know who I'm talking about? He was in Chalbaz. He was in Hawa Hawaii in Mr. India. You know the guy? No, you like. I'll have to put up a picture. He has one of those faces that I always remember, and Gulshan Grover beats him up. And that's kind of the setup to the first song. It's like the lead up to all of these happy songs are very, very violent. Yeah, I don't know his name, but he's like literally in every 80s song he's there, and he has just like a very visual face where it grabs you and it's like, ye kaisa dancer hai? Like, how can this man be a dancer? But he's a dancer in every movie. It's just hilarious. I'll send you the picture, Amrita. You know exactly.
There's a bit of trivia to him. I think the last time I saw him was in Bunty Aur Bubbly, where Dhadak Dhadak happens. That he's one of the guys who's playing Tash, and Abhishek Bachchan robs him. So he's one of the background artists, or he has aged obviously, but he's there. He's omnipresent in all these movies.
Still getting scammed and beaten up.
Like one of the funniest things is like, so every time Aamir gets beaten up by Gulshan Grover, which happens multiple times, it's always in a new location. And at some point they ran out of location, so they just went to a swimming pool, and then they climbed up to the diving tower, and then Gulshan Grover and his entire team are like standing on top of the diving board, pushing Aamir off this diving board, and I'm like, why? Why did you do that?
And then they just leave. Answers. They just leave. Like they just leave. And then he gets saved by, like, you know, the cleaner man. But I was just like thinking, if there was an extra shot, like imagine you go with 30 people on top of the diving board, but then you have to climb down 30 people. That is visually, that is a very funny image.
It would have been like Gogoji Aapka Ghagra kind of a sequence.
Yeah. Plus they're wearing all of that 80s bad fashion, lot of polyester. So 100% a few people slipped down. Like a few like broke their pelvis bone on that one. Yeah. Also, like coming back to Gulshan Grover, like he's a murderous bastard, cocaine head, all of that. But he really wants to get married too, you know? I think like, that's always the thing in 80s movies. It's that meme of Govinda, main shaadi ke liye marna ja raha hu, you know, that kind of thing. I just find it hilarious.
There's a point where he, like Raza Murad is just like, what happened? Like, what's wrong with you, baby boy? And he's like, what is the use of being your son if I can't even like get married to the girl I love? I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Pyar ka mamla hai. Pyar ka mamla. Yeah. Yeah, and then it's basically like, and he figures that he's not gonna marry her, so he's like, aaj main public rape karunga. And then Debu is like, nahi, I draw the line at public rape. You know, so then he steps up, and then there's an insane sequence with red paint and Dobermans or something like that. Remember that?
I'll just rewind a few scenes before that, when he's declared that he's going to publicly rape, and he says, "Kapde utaro, Miss Goswami," and I'm like, what the hell? And then he says, "Mujhe apne doston ki maut ka hisab chukana hai. Utaro kapde." Gulshan, no. Oh.
Gulshan gonna Gulshan.
But also, I love that in the 80s, and well into the 90s, honestly, if you wanted to show like somebody is like a hardcore partier, then you basically dress like Wham. So Gulshan Grover is basically cosplaying, what do you call, what's his face? George Michael all throughout. And, you know, he's got like the earring, he's got like the the zip tops, everything. It's a look.
Also, if you're a gunda, your consumption of soft drinks is very high. Like they're just constantly like drinking soft drinks.
They need the energy, Asim. Excuse you.
It was when there was cocaine in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's not even Coca-Cola, right? It's these like, you know, Indian brands from the 80s that like Campa. I'm not sure if they exist or not. Yeah. I just find it hilarious that these gundes are just like, you know, having parties and pools and drinking lots of soft drinks, you know. Yeah, it was a trip. Any other sequences that you want to discuss? Anything that stand out in Love, Love, Love?
I'm just so delighted that now that the 80s are over, we don't have the short shots anymore. Like, please don't bring them back. Like, nobody wants to see that. Like, thank you. No, thank you.
I was quite excited about the setup of the Mela and the action sequence that happens in the Mela. But then that whole sequence was, wo kharch ho gaya without anything.
Yeah. No, but even like that, there's a fight sequence in a locker room where they have this whole build up where they're taking all of these padlocks and putting them in their towels, and that's how they're gonna beat up. But the scene is so badly made that it has no effect. Like there's this 30-second sequence where you see all of these padlocks being in
Yeah, I remember seeing something similar in Phool Aur Kaante. I still remember that sequence. It was such a badass action sequence, and then you have this in comparison, and the difference between Phool Aur Kaante and this is just merely a few years, and it's just a talent problem.
And even that chase sequence where Aamir is getting chased by a Mad Max type situation car, like a Dodge, and he's running over things and all of that, and like it's just incompetently shot. Like that could have been a good action sequence. We've seen that many times, right? But
the stunts are real.
Not the case at all.
And the stunts are real.
Yeah.
Just not presented well enough for us to get invested. Like the stakes are high or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that just kind of goes about all of the movies. Like the whole movie is like, and I understand that it wasn't even a success back in the day because it shows that it's not made with any love. All the love is in the title, but there's no love in the filmmaking. And it's just a careless kind of movie. And I think they were the director was making another movie. And I was reading this on Wikipedia. And Aamir had signed Awwal Number with Devanand. And so B. Subhash stopped making that other movie he was making with Mithun and decided to shoot this movie quickly before Awwal Number came out. So it shows that's it's a very kind of like speedily, hastily made movie that is just not good. And I did not enjoy this movie. I did not have any sense of fun or even for like Juhi Chawla is trying and she's beautiful and she's Juhi freshness bubbly, but there's nothing for her to work with, right? Like she's very confused about what's going on. It did make me go watch. Have you ever seen the 1984 Miss Universe pageant?
I've seen the bits with Juhi in it, where she comes and she says, like, like I'm from India, like, she says it. I remember that particular thing because my cousin, who's like much older than me, she was like a huge Juhi Chawla fan, and it was like a huge deal when Juhi won like Miss Miss India, and like she went to the competition. And I must have been like, I was like a baby at the time, like, but this is like one of my strongest core memories is like my cousin saying, look, it's Juhi, and like I love the way that she says, I'm from India, namaste. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's really cute. So I watched the whole thing, not like the whole thing, but I fast forwarded the pieces where Juhi was on the background and things like that. And it's just one of those 80s productions, right? It's insane to watch. But she has a swimsuit sequence because that's something that they have in these pageants. So she's on a yacht and she like turns around and flips her hair. And so she's not, and they have musical dance numbers. So they have like all of the Miss Worlds with background dancers are singing all night long. Blanking on the name now. Lionel Richie's All Night Long.
Lionel Richie.
Like with 100 people on stage. And Juhi Chawla is one of them. She's like all night longing in the background and stuff like that. So it's kind of cute. And then she didn't get shortlisted to the 10 final contenders. But you see her in the background dressed in this awful blue maxi. So there's a few shots of her and she just looks like baby Juhi, man. It looks... So the only good thing about watching this movie was watching the Tough Turf trailer and going back and watching Juhi Chawla's 1984 Miss Universe pageant, which is available in its entirety on YouTube. So check it out with like speed times 5 if you want. Just stop at Juhi, and I think it's just kind of a cool kind of thing. Yeah. So, any final thoughts on Love, Love, Love?
Yeah, my final thought is there is a lot of moments in this movie which remind you of the era when it is set in 80s Mumbai or Bombay then, because there is a lot of times when Juhi and Aamir's character just miss each other. Like they are not able to meet up because Juhi gets controlled by her brother, by Gulshan, by her father, and a lot of times Aamir is just stood up and he's rejected and he's waiting all night long. And all of this could have been solved with just a mere WhatsApp message, and it would not happen in today's time. So yeah, Love, Love, Love is a very 80s movie, and even then, even as an 80s movie, I don't like it.
This is why people are divorcing left and right? We're not waiting for each other in parks anymore. There's no build-up. That's why love has been destroyed. These people had 3 times as much love, clearly in the title. Amrita.
Even Om Shivpuri ends with hey, love, 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 and that's the end of the movie. Like, thank you for reminding us that.
Yeah.
Well,
insert Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yeah, like मेरी जिंदगी का एक ही मकसद है, and that is avoid love, love, love. Like it is just horrendous. Like I can't stand it.
Yeah. I wonder if there's Aamir fans that like this movie, if they hold any like positivity towards it. I would love to hear.
There are, because on YouTube, which is where I saw this fine movie, it is there in all its glory. You can watch it if you want to. But on YouTube, there are like people out there who are just like, this is my favorite movie. I love it. Aamir is so good in this. There's like a lot of like Turkish people under like, and like Russians, I guess, because it's written like Cyrillic alphabets. Like, I don't know, who are just like, I don't know what they're writing, because they're writing in like Turkish and in Russian. But apparently this was, again, like, like Disco Dancer, like he apparently was making movies for a very specific Cold War audience, and they really like this movie. Apparently, like it's their, like Sujoy, it is their core memory of their childhood, and they're all delighted to find it on YouTube. But yeah, there are love enthusiasts.
I'm not sure, Amrita. I think it's just Putin and Erdogan sharing nuclear codes on YouTube comment pages. I think that's what's happening here. Nobody likes this movie. Impossible.
CIA will never fight us.
Exactly, yahan kaun aayega? But yeah, like I'm saying, Subhash was the Rajamouli of the 80s. Like he had some secret formula for these movies, and they were just like hitting. But yeah, I don't know if this movie hit for you. Let us know what you liked about it. I'm fascinated to hear about it. As always, Patreon is a good place. Otherwise, drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. Join us this Sunday for our live event where we're discussing and choosing the 80s series that we'll be doing from January in Khandaan. So that's going to be really, really fun. You can come and join us on the chat and, follow up. If you miss it, you can join Patreon and watch the footage there. I think we're going to upload the video too. So that's going to be cool. And yeah, that's it for this episode. Sujoy, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at 93K. Also on Blue Sky as 93K. And you can follow Khandaan Podcast on all our socials at Khandaan Podcast.
Amrita?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Amrita IQ. I seem to be spending more and more time on Blue Sky these days. I still am there on Twitter, but it's anyone's guess how long I'm going to be there. And honestly, I'm not really posting anything much over there with Elon's new terms of service going into effect. So if you want to just see what I repost, come meet me on Twitter. If you'd like to follow my thoughts, then follow me on Blue Sky.
Yes, I am also on Blue Sky now. Apparently, it's just Asim Bernie on there. I would say I am not going to leave Twitter. I'm just saying it out because there's a lot of Palestinian voices that are still on Twitter, and that's their way to amplify their voices. And I want to make this point quickly. We can't just be fucking privileged people and just say, I'm out of here. And this is something that I have told many people. Amrita, you made this point back when the genocide started like a year ago, is that these people are going through the worst thing ever. At least we can be their witnesses, right? So I've said this quote to many other people, and I'm not going to let that go. So I will not let go of Twitter, although I am on Blue Sky. But I just have an issue with all of us just leaving and not being able to amplify those voices. So I am on Blue Sky. I'm also on Twitter. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. And thank you for listening.
Khandaan podcast for Girl, you're much